Hi there, and welcome to Do You Know How You Learn by Kelly Chaff. I'm a residence life coordinator at University Park, Penn State University. Our learning objectives today are to identify learning style based off the VARK theory, recall the meaning of VARK learning style theory, implement VARK learning style and study strategies in daily classroom behavior, examine and explain self-learning, examine strategies for incorporating VARK learning style in everyday life. Presentation outline. First, we'll talk about what is VARK. Then you'll have time to complete the VARK questionnaire. We'll talk about how is VARK used in the classroom, how is VARK used in everyday life. We'll define direct practice, and we'll define self-learning. So the question is, how do we know how we learn? VARK, what is it? VARK is a theory on learning styles developed by Neil D. Fleming in 1987. This model helps students understand how they learn. What I'd like you to do is take a minute to pause the presentation, go to vark-learn.com/the-vark-questionnaire, or you can click on this link and take the strategies questionnaire. This questionnaire will help you determine which VARK modalities you are currently using when learning. Now, you are able to pick multiple responses for each question. However, I caution you, the more responses you choose, the more modalities you'll get in your results. So if possible, keep your responses to a single response per question. But if you feel that there's more than one response per question that really identifies you, go ahead and pick those responses. So go ahead and pause the presentation and take 5 to 10 minutes and complete that questionnaire. Have fun. All right, welcome back. So now what? You have all this information, and what does it all mean? Fleming developed 4 main learning styles that help define a student's preference in communication and reflect the experiences that they have in and out of the classroom. These are visual, oral, read write, and kinesthetic. Or VARK. V for visual. Student is most interested in visual material. Here, the teacher must use this to their advantage by using visual materials and visual aids. A, oral. Student is most interested in lecture, group discussion, conversation, and chats. Teacher must use information sharing that incorporates good listening skills for these learners. Read write or rhetoric. Student is great at reading books, documents, and anything they created on their own. A teacher must use written material to keep the interest of these learners. K, kinesthetic. Student is good at using their own experiences and direct practice, also widely known as hands-on. Teacher must bring items into the classroom that these students can touch and learn how to use. So what does all this mean? Well, VARC focuses on the learner's abilities, promoting the motivation of the learner through the contents and activities. So how do we use it? Well, in the classroom, we use VARC with lecture, visual aids, handouts, reading, theory to practice, labs, workshops, seminars. What else do you think? How about outside the classroom? Communication and interpersonal skills can be effective and applied in all aspects of life. Conflict resolution help make communication more effective. Some respond better to verbal discussion. Some respond better to diagrams. Some can take or read notes. Examples of how to clarify the situation. Public speaking, interesting and engaging. You can practice their speech. Some can use diagrams and illustrations in a public speech, and some will use written notes and diagrams. Collaboration. If all understood VARC, they can understand each other's preferred way of working on a project, which can help improve communication and collaboration. Leadership. Making effective communication. Making connections with others. Leadership styles can be adjusted to meet the needs of the learning styles in your team. Decision making. Check where things are getting stressful. Why are they getting stressful? And what can we do to get out of that rut? What are you missing in decision making? How can you stay organized? What are your pros and cons? How do you discuss and debate things? The other things in everyday life we can use VARC in: hobbies. Learn what method is best based off of learning style. This is to learn a new hobby and to complete the hobby as well. Sports. Reading about exercise, oral. Doing exercises, kinesthetic. Discussing doing with a coach, along with oral. Studying documents and pictures of sports and positions. What about board games and puzzle solving? For our read-write learners, they use written instructions. For our visual learners, they can use diagrams. For our oral learners, they can use verbal explanations. And for our kinesthetic learners, they can use demonstrations. Let's look at travel. Maps, a great tool. Pre-planning with articles and books. And there's always videos to help you plan a travel experience. What does the research say? Well, research tells us that teachers need to adjust their teaching style in order to match that of the learners in their classroom. That's why it's important for us to do that questionnaire to learn how you learn. Universities today have students that are mostly experienced adults with high individuality. Everybody is experienced in something, and everyone is unique. Student and teachers work together to understand and bring out current knowledge, abilities, readiness, and interests. And learning style can affect the learning of the learners in the classroom. That's so true. Now let's talk a little bit about direct practice. The learner will be able to learn from direct practice. So, what is direct practice? Well, the process of teaching and learning requires more than just materials to support the topics at hand. The teacher must coordinate and motivate with their learners on teaching and learning styles. That brings us to self learning. Self learning is the process of gaining knowledge without the help of a teacher or institution, also called self directed learning, self study, or audiodidactism. How do we use self learn? Well, we think of what we're interested in and dive right in. What are some of the things in your world that you self learn? What about taking pictures or riding a bike? Anything you want, really. Making friendship bracelets or putting together fashionable outfits. What do you think? Take a minute and think about it. Here's some tips for self learning. It's important to set goals, use credible resources, make a schedule, take breaks, share your information with others, and collaborate with other people. These all things need to happen in order for learning to happen. In conclusion, knowing your learning style is really the first step. As first generation, we don't always have access to the resources needed to be successful both in and out of the classroom. VARC is a small step for learners to gain sufficient access to information on how they learn and why they learn the way they do. I urge you to look at this questionnaire and take the survey if you already haven't. You will find a handout with strategic performance strategies based on your own personal learning style under VARC attached to this presentation. Thank you for participating and thank you for listening. Again, my name is Kelly Chaff. You'll find my email on this last slide. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you and have a great day.